Welcome back to John Madden Sales. Today we're going to go over grooming. This is our model for the day. This is 3-year-old Cherry Cola. She just came back in from the field, so you're going to have to excuse any antsiness that she might have. Here at JMS, our grooming stalls are designed by John to be efficient for the grooms, so we don't have to run back and forth from the tack room 100 times while we're getting a horse ready. Everything that we need, minus the actual equipment that's going on the horse, is here in the grooming stall. So one cabinet, we've got towels and ointments and sprays and studs and various items. In the drawer, we have brushes, we have combs, scissors, maybe a little antibiotic ointment if we need it. In this cabinet, we have our saddle pads and our half pads. And over here, scrims, coolers, surcingles, a twitch if we need it, lunge lines, basically everything that we need. Also, we do have a central vacuum system for the horses that are okay with it. Works really well when they come in from the field and they're covered in mud. All right, so we're gonna start from the beginning. I've got 2 different kinds of curry combs. There's plenty of varieties of these, but I typically prefer either a grooming mitt or a hard plastic or softish plastic curry comb. This is going to stimulate oil glands, the sebaceous glands in the skin, and help to release those oils to make the coat shiny. It's also going to release any dead hair, loose hair that they may have, and get rid of all the manure stains, the mud, any underlying dust in the coat. So depending on the horse, sensitive horses prefer the grooming mitt. If you have one that's not so sensitive, a little bit of a harder curry comb. Really preference, and you have to listen to your horse and they'll tell you kind of what they like. I chose the curry mitt for Cherry because she tends to be a little bit more on the sensitive side. Plus there's not a whole lot of caked on dirt where this will do a very fine job of what I'm looking for. So I'm going to start at the top, up by her head, and use a fair amount of pressure and circular motion, which is going to kind of loosen up all that dead hair and dirt under the coat. I'm going to work my way down kind of top to bottom on the horse, and I'm also going to keep another hand on her. She's young. I don't want to have her surprise me with any kind of spooking, so if I have another hand on her, I can actually feel maybe if she's going to be enjoying this or surprise me with a spook. So I always keep 2 hands on the horse. You can see all the hair coming up. And pay attention to your horse too, because they might have a spot that they really like. Some of them typically enjoy the withers or the shoulder or the chest being curried. And it helps you also develop a little bit of a relationship with your horse. You do something that they like, they might behave better for you. A little bonding time, grooming time is a little bonding time. Some horses don't particularly enjoy the girth area, so just be mindful of these more sensitive areas, the flank. Get the whole body. And as I go to the legs, especially with a young one that might be a little bit funny about their legs, I am going to make sure I am aware of how she's handling this so I don't inadvertently get kicked by accident. As I move to the other side, I might do her face, and they can be sensitive here too. Some horses love this, some don't, so just be gentle. The white hair loves to shed out. And then I'm going to do the same exact thing on the other side. After you're done currying, you're going to pick a brush that suits the job that you're trying to do here. So if you have a really, really dirty horse, a little bit of a stiffer brush can help get some of that residual dirt off. it's good to have a stiff brush and a softer, more flickier brush in your inventory. For her, a little sensitive horse, I'm gonna choose a little bit of a softer brush, but I like this one because it's got long bristles and it will flick the dirt really well. So again, we're gonna start at the top, and I'm gonna kind of dig a little bit with the brush and then use my wrist and flick the dirt back. Starting at the top and working our way back. Just makes sense. We're pushing the dirt away. So you can already see that our coat is starting to shine a little bit. And go with the grain of the hair with your stiffer brushes. You can really get some dirt that's lying close to the skin with the flickier brush. And then you just smooth it out after. Again, I'm moving down to her legs. I want to be mindful, especially the more careful horse might be a little sensitive here. And areas of the horse that are more sensitive, the girth area, the flank, sometimes even the belly can be an area where the horse does not enjoy this routine. So, you're trying to build a bond and a relationship with your horse. You want to do things that make them feel good. Obviously, they need to get clean, but if your horse doesn't like a metal curry comb, maybe you shouldn't use a metal curry comb. Maybe try to find something else that you can use that they might enjoy this process a little bit better. It also helps to warm up the muscles a little bit too. So this is a really important part of your riding, is you get a chance to inspect your horse, you get a chance to really clean them well, stimulate the hair growth and the oils in the skin, and also a chance to really go over your horse in depth and make sure there's no cuts, scrapes, swellings. Really important when you're doing the legs to actually put your hand on their leg and make sure everything looks and feels normal. Touch their feet, make sure there's no abnormal heat. So, a lot of people might skip the grooming process or fly through it because they don't have enough time, but you really need to take the time to make sure that your partner is feeling their best as well. Now that I've got her body looking beautiful and she's nice and relaxed and yawning for us, I'm gonna go to her mane and her tail. We here at JMS do not brush the forelocks. So I'm just gonna kind of pick through her forelock. We like them nice and full, and if you brush them too much, then the hair breaks and you pull hair out and they get thin. So I'm just gonna make sure that there's nothing stuck in there, no straw or dirt, and then I'm gonna go to her mane. So I'm gonna start up by the mane. Again, this is stimulating hair growth. Also, I'm not so concerned about pulling hair out of the mane because we pull the manes anyway. So I'm gonna detangle it. I'm gonna get out any dirt or straw. I'm also gonna have a chance to look at how it's growing and if I need to trim it at all or pull it. If your horse's mane lies on the side of the neck that you don't desire, so we typically like our horse's manes to lay to the right, and say like hers splits both ways. You can take a damp towel during the grooming process and wet the mane down to the right, or you can braid the mane over to try to train it to stay to one side. Then I'm gonna move over to her tail. We're not gonna brush her tail. Again, it's kind of like the forelock. We want a nice full tail. I am gonna inspect everything and take the time to pick any straw that she has out of it. You may say, well, doesn't the hair break if you don't brush it? We do brush the tails, but only after they've been washed and conditioned, which is typically right before they go to a horse show. Otherwise, we just try to keep it picked. And then you always do want to inspect and make sure that everything is okay by the dock of the tail. She's not loving this, so I'm going to be a little careful around her back end. Make sure that she doesn't have any bug bites or anything, or any wounds up by her tail, and she looks pretty good. So it's probably worth mentioning that before the horse comes out of the stall, we always pick the feet. So that gives us a chance, one, to inspect that their shoes are all on and not sprung, and they're not loose. She obviously does not have shoes, she's just trimmed, so we still pick the feet, and we can inspect if they have any thrush or any issues or heat in the feet. We don't apply any oils or any sole remedies or anything in the grooming aisle. We also don't spray the horse with anything that has any oils in it in the grooming aisle. One, it makes stains on our cobblestones. It also makes the area really slippery. So we do, if say the horse needs treatment on its foot, we typically will do that in the stall after riding. Okay, so after we're done with our currying and our brushing and our mane, tail, and kind of inspecting our horse, now it's time to kind of put the finishing shine on her. You can use a finishing brush. Some people like those really soft horsehair brushes. I like a good old-fashioned towel. If your horse still has a little bit of dust, you can dampen the towel and rub that into the coat, and that'll get that dust out. Or just take it, rub the whole coat. A lot of times just a nice dry towel will do the trick. But if you've got one that was caked in mud and is super dusty, you might want to dampen the towel a little bit. If you have a horse that has like a bed head from laying down in the shavings or the straw, and there's a little pattern on the coat, that's easily removed with a damp towel. You just rub it in the direction of the hair. I'm gonna do her whole body. She likes this. Younger horses with the flapping towel, just be very aware that if you haven't worked on this sort of thing, like we have with this horse, that can be a little surprising, so just use some good judgment there. And I'm gonna go to her pretty face. Make sure we get all the loose hair and any crustiness in her nostrils. You can get with the towel. She likes this. The backs of her ears. And she's beautiful. So at John Madden sales, when horses are home from horse shows, we like them to kind of have a little bit of downtime and be horses. They get turned out quite a bit. We try not to fuss over them so much. We don't keep them trimmed all the time. We don't fuss over their muzzles and all that. We get them ready for the show before the show. So their whiskers have a chance to grow. Their manes can grow out a little bit. Her being out in the field, you can see that her whiskers are long. With this horse, because she's young, I will kind of introduce her to the clippers and make sure that she can handle them on her body, and then work towards clipping her muzzle and her ears, but that's more of a training thing. The other show horses, we usually wait until right before they leave for a horse show to get them trimmed, and that way they have a chance to kind of be a horse when they're home. At John Madden sales, we typically try not to bathe our horses frequently. One, it strips the oils in the coat, the shampoo and everything. It kind of takes that natural sebum that's produced by those sebaceous glands I talked about earlier, takes that out of the coat and can actually dullen the coat a little bit. It also isn't very good for their feet to get wet and dry all the time. So what we do is if you have a horse that gets super sweaty after riding, we typically will rub them down with a damp towel in any of the areas that they're sweaty, put them in their stall for a while, let them dry off, and then take them back out and groom them again. Grooming is the best practice, good grooming. Paying attention to your horse, really rubbing into their coat is what's gonna make it shine. Elbow grease, good old-fashioned elbow grease, is the best policy. And as John Madden likes to say, Horses need a little bit of loving and a lot of rubbing. Thanks for stopping by to John Madden Sales as we continue our video series. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media.